the new album, New Gods, New Masters, is going to be released tomorrow. So how do you feel about it in general?
I'm super excited. I can't wait. We've been waiting on this to come out for quite some time now, so I'm happy that it's finally being released to the world.
About the tour, since you're going to have like two tours, upcoming tours. So you're going to have a US tour with Judiciary in Ferry, Vomit Forth, starting mid-October until pretty much mid-November. And then you're going to embark on a European tour with Silosis and Distant from mid-January to until mid-February. So what are your plans after the tour, by the way, since I'm very interested?
I mean, I'm sure we'll probably maybe hang out at home for a little bit, and probably before too long we'll be back out again. We don't have anything concretely on the books just as of yet, but in my experience, once a record comes out, lots of opportunities and tours just start to come rolling in. So
Then, just in a nutshell, can you tell a little bit about the writing process, how it goes between you and the members? And since Nether Heaven was released in 2022, how long did it take this time, and when did it approximately start to write New Gods and New Masters?
I pretty much started writing New Gods, New Masters as soon as we were done with the process of recording Nether Heaven, to be honest. I mean, I'm kind of constantly working on new music like all the time. So yeah, for me, everything starts with the riff. I just sit down with a guitar, and if something comes to me, I'll record it and save it for later, and then I start to put the pieces together. I'll have a
Right?
bunch of different riffs, and I'll just start organizing them and seeing what goes where, and then from there, I'll start to think more about arranging, maybe what the drums are doing, thinking about vocals and lyrics and stuff like that. That always sort of
Yeah.
comes towards the end of the process once the song is there, so I have like something to write lyrics to. And then of course, I'll write the solos and add in any extra harmonies, things like that.
About the writing process in general, so you suffered a broken wrist in midst of the writing process, pretty much for the first time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So how did that affect the process in general, pretty much? So how did it go?
It definitely sidelined me for a little bit. I was in a cast for 6 weeks. We were on tour for, I don't know. I think when I broke my wrist, I still had like 2 weeks left on the road. So I was still on tour for the initial part of the healing process, and then yeah, when I was home, obviously I still couldn't play guitar for like another 3 weeks to a month. So I just started to kind of listen to the riffs that I had written, and I started to sort of put the pieces together in my mind. So rather than sit there with the guitar and compose and play one riff after the next, I just kind of would listen to things. I would go for a walk, and I would just sort of mentally start to kind of see what goes where.
About the concept of new gods, new masters in general. So Nether Heaven was about hell in a nutshell. So New Gods, New Masters is about the perils of AI and dystopian outcomes. So how did you end up having this concept, and pretty much when?
This has been a topic that I've been interested in for quite a while now, for many years, and I've always been interested in science as a kid, and current events, history, and I think this topic kind of combines all of those, and even combines the sci-fi realm, right? It's more science fiction stuff that is becoming a reality, and I'm very fascinated with science fiction, and I love sci-fi movies and all that kind of stuff. So to me, this kind of encapsulates so many different topics that are fascinating to me, and there's the added motive there where it's that I'm very concerned about where we're headed with all this technology. So it wasn't just like, oh, I think this will be a cool metal song or whatever. It was born from a real place, and from a place of deep concern, deep worry, of what these technologies might bring, and what the unintended outcomes could be if we just sort of pursue goals of creating super intelligences without any guardrails there, and with no real way of controlling them.
And then you're going to have the graphical book as well. So that's going to be amazing. I know about it
Yes.
already. And hey, you have a song on the album called Cronenberg. So just got to ask you, what is your favorite Cronenberg movie? Because I mean, when I was a little kid, 9 years old, my brother had recorded a Fly movie on a VHS, pretty much, and I saw it when I was 9 years old, and I'm still traumatized by the movie. It's very freaking good, but that's why I'm so effed up in my head. Let's put it that way, in a good way. So, how about your favorite Cronenberg movie?
It's The Fly for me as well. I think that's just his best film across the board, at least for the body horror genre that he's known for. The acting's great, the story's great, the special effects are disgusting. Yeah, if I were to say watch one Cronenberg film that if no one's if someone's not familiar with him, I would say The Fly would be the number one pick for sure.
Just have to tell you, the practical effects are so mind blowing, and it was a box office hit that year, by the way, when it was released, and the ending scene is so gut-wrenchingly horrible that I just have to tell you, it's a freaking masterpiece.
I agree.
Yeah,
It's quite a sad ending too.
very sad, but it's a romantic movie as well at the same time. But yeah,
There's a
it's a
Beauty and the
freaking.
Beast component to it.
But hey, about the roster of visiting musicians or guest musicians on the album, pretty much. So you have Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation, naturally, and Johnny Davey from Job for a Cowboy. But then, this is the most conspicuous one. You have Gilad Hexelman, who is an Israeli jazz guitarist, very skillful and very renowned. And you are a very highly educated musician, of course. So you went to Boston Arts Academy on ninth grade. And after that, you pretty much went to Berklee College of Music to study jazz. So just to ask you about the importance of jazz in your life at the moment, because of course it's very important part of your musical, how do I say, yeah, musical like your mentality to encapsulate.
Jazz is very important to me. It's a genre of music that I love. It's a genre of music that I am constantly studying and working on and practicing. And I think a lot of the different elements of that genre of music have sort of crept into my musical subconscious here and there. So even when I'm writing metal, I feel like some of the jazz training that I've had over the years, it's not necessarily at the forefront of my mind, but anything that you learn and anything that makes you a better musician, I think just kind of exists in the background of your mind while you're writing. So it's hard for me to say the exact ways these types of things manifest themselves, but I know they're there for sure.
Revocation is very technical and very demanding. I just have to tell you, I admire you a lot because you can sing and play at the same time, like very freaking technical, insane riffs. So if you can choose one song from the upcoming album, which is the most demanding one, even though all of them pretty much are, can you name any?
Probably the All Seeing, the instrumental track is the hardest thing, but in some ways it might be the easiest because I don't have to sing over it at the same time. So I think just from a purely guitar playing standpoint, probably the All Seeing, but we haven't played all of the new songs live. Obviously, we've only played a couple live. I'm sure I'm going to run into some very difficult moments when I try to sing and play some of this stuff at the same time on some of these tracks.
Since you started to play guitar at a very young age, and pretty much when you started to play guitar and you entered music seriously, can you name any pivotal moment in your life when you had the moment of enlightenment of sorts, when you thought that, okay, this is the thing I want to do for the rest of my life and take it very seriously?
Pretty much as soon as I picked up the guitar, I felt that way. I don't know. I just was completely enamored with the instrument, was enamored with rock and roll and guitar players. I mean, I became obsessed with Joe Perry from Aerosmith, and then I got really into Slash from Guns N' Roses, and wanted to start a band and that whole thing. So yeah, I mean, as soon as I got that guitar in my hands, it was just kind of all over for me. It was like the only thing that I wanted to do.
And about the Boston Arts Academy. So you had a teacher over there, and the teacher taught you a lot. So can you tell a little bit about that? Because I mean that was very intense, and how important part that plays in Revocation, by the way, because that takes you very deep in the world of music.
I already had some decent technique for my age at that point, and I was well on my way to like writing songs and writing music. But yeah, studying with Colin Sapp, who's still a great friend of mine. He was my teacher at Boston Arts Academy, and he showed me all about jazz. It was my first time really diving into the genre in any meaningful way. I would be learning jazz solos from the greats like Wes Montgomery or Pat Martino, and I didn't know how to read music and I didn't know anything about jazz, but it was sort of a trial by fire, and we just kind of dove right in. And he was so passionate about the music and such a great teacher that it was really infectious to me. And it just kind of clicked. And again, like I was saying earlier, like so much of my musical DNA was obviously in those formative years when you're listening to all these different types of music for the first time and becoming inspired by it and learning about it. I still look back very fondly on those years. It's very nostalgic to me. So yeah, I guess in a lot of ways I'm still just that young 16-year-old kid that just loves to play guitar and loves to learn.
It seems like, because I mean it has taken you far. So
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is like very, very awesome, pretty much in general. And because New Gods, New Masters is about pretty much the future and dystopia. If we had a time machine and you had the possibility to go back in time to meet two of the most important guitar players who have passed away, one from metal and one from jazz, who would they be?
For metal, it would be Dimebag for me. I just feel like we'd have a good time, and I would probably be incredibly hungover the next day. As far as guitarists from jazz, I mean probably Wes Montgomery. I feel like he would be just such a legend to meet and to ask him questions and just kind of see him play like in the moment. For guitar players, probably Wes.
And you had to learn him pretty much note from note in Boston Arts Academy.
Yeah, I mean,
so that was insane, man.
Yeah, it was one of the first jazz solos like I ever learned, and he was one of the first like jazz guitarists I ever really checked out. So, and his music is still timeless. I still teach Wes solos in my private lessons when I'm teaching students, and his music was just so beautiful and so creative, really timeless.
You were a producer this time around as well on this album and on Nether Heaven, of course. So what was the difference in producing this album compared to Nether Heaven? How did it feel like? How was it easier, and what was the most demanding or challenging part of producing this album?
Definitely went smoother. I mean, doing Nether Heaven, that was my first time doing a full-length album ever. So there was just lots of things that I learned during the process, lots of sort of mistakes I made along the way, lots of just YouTubing things, like having to sort of stop the process entirely and then go look up the question that I had online or text a friend and try to sort of learn it on my own as I'm going through. But with New Gods, it wasn't like, there were still challenges. It's almost like the more you learn, the more you realize there's so much more to still learn, right? This one, there were certain parts that were definitely like streamlined, but this newest record, I was trying to kind of, I guess, just hone my craft that much more with it, make the process that much better, and also kind of catalog the things that I was doing along the way for future reference. So, to me, if there's certain teachable moments, I'll try to make like a mental note of it or things like that allow me to. They might in the moment take me a minute to kind of overcome or to kind of fully grasp, but then I feel like I've learned a new skill, and now I feel like pretty damn comfortable recording projects like just completely on my own. After doing 2 records, I recorded the Gargoyle record all on my own too, which is my other band. So I've got a few records now under my belt that I've tracked as far as my own parts go, like all myself. So yeah, between learning vocals or learning how to record vocals rather, and even just like upgrading my gear here and there. Got like a new DI box recently. I recently bought like an SM7B microphone just to be that much more in control of my own sound setup and not having to rent things or borrow gear. Yeah, I'm amassing a small but crucial list of home recording gear that's definitely on the more professional side. So I'm happy about that.
My question was, or I was about to ask about Gorgol, by the way. So since it's your side band, is there any new material or a new probable album? It's very amazing.
We got the record's done, the artwork's finished. We're literally just going back and forth on the final master right now. But it'll be finished up I would say in the next week or so, and then we just got to figure out how we're going to release it, whether we do it through a record label or if we self-release it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that one out there too, because I'm really proud of the music on the new Gargoyle record. I think it's definitely very different than Revocation, but yeah, I think if you're a fan of my playing style, you'll dig it.
And hey, about your guitars, I can see some guitars on the wall over there. About the scale of the Warriors, by the way, because you changed the scale or moved from 25.5 inch scale to 26.5 scales. So was it festering in your mind for a while, or how did that come to be, by the way, since, yeah, it's a little bit longer?
It was just born from, I think, years of touring with the older models and just looking to change it up, looking to get a little bit more stability in the tuning, that longer scale length. Just putting more tension on the string makes for better tuning stability, and it slightly alters the tone too. So we changed up the pickups there. But yeah, I'm very happy with the new scale length. Certainly makes certain chords like a little bit trickier because it's it's just a little bit longer, but at the same time, you adapt to it just like anything. And I don't know, it makes the guitar look a little bit bigger, which I think just looks kind of cool.
It looks very
really
cool.
Looks like it's a fucking beast,
And hey, then something about Finland, since you're gonna come here. Can you name any favorite Finnish metal bands in a nutshell?
Yeah, I mean, we toured with Children of Bodom before. They're fucking fantastic. I'm trying to think of some. I know there's like a lot of cool like black metal from Finland that right now like some of the names are just escaping me a little bit, but there's a few Finnish death metal bands. I don't know why I think they're called Gorophilia, maybe. Yeah, from Vanta. Fucking great riffs.
Slightly more from Finland. So, when was the first time you came here, pretty much? Not on touring, but have you come here just to visit Finland in general?
I've never been to Finland just to visit. We've always been on tour through there. But I love it there. It's always a good time. We played there with Cannibal Corpse. We played there with Killswitch Engage. I know I'm forgetting a couple. I think maybe Dying Fetus back in the day. But yeah, Finland's it's a beautiful country. They love metal there, which it's just always great to play in front of the crowds there. I feel like you guys are quite ravenous for metal, and particularly more like extreme types of metal. And yeah, the culture is just lovely. The people are great, and I always look forward to seeing Finland on a tour pass for sure.